Hello. Sorry, I had technical issues, but I'm joining in now.
I'm standing in for my colleague.
Hello, can you hear me? Hello, good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes, Joy, we can hear you.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Okay. Okay, Joy, welcome back. Thank
I
you.
had technical issues all of a sudden, and then, okay, I had technical issues all of a sudden, and I just had to sort it out quickly. All right, today we are discussing women in leadership. It's nice to meet you all. But before I jump into that, my name is Joy Ativie. I'm the program manager of Prime Unique Women Initiative. This women and mental health program it was vetted from a passion for having women, for the development of women actually, and finding ways to improve today's woman and to empower her. And looking at this period, the period of the elections, it is expedient that we talk about women in leadership. In our midst today, we have amazing people. First of all, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the president of Prime Unique Women Initiative, in person of Dr. Mrs. Folakeje Yobah. I would also like to appreciate the presence of a very important personality. I'll come back to her and give her full profile, but please be informed that you have in our midst Professor Joy Ngozi Ezeilo. I will come back to that. And then we have Professor Tariq. We have Professor Tariq all the way from Turkey, you know. So I'll just give the floor to the president of Prime Unique Women Initiative to say some things and welcome us to this meeting. Then I would read out the profile of today's speaker, and also welcome Dr. Tariq, so that the meeting can start in earnest. So Dr. Yobah, dear President, can you please give us a welcome speech? Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, beautiful people. It's nice to have you here once again. I'm glad that we have in our midst some very important personalities. As regular with us is Professor Tariq from Turkey, Istanbul, Turkey. Yes. We are glad to have you here. And we are so glad also to have with us Professor Joy, who has always been at the forefront of women leadership in Nigeria. We are glad to have you here, ma'am.
Thank you.
The last time we met was Kigali talk in Rwanda.
That's true.
And you did a great job then. We have always seen you on television on different programs. Thank you for being part of this program this evening. We really, really appreciate the Joy because it is a OON. Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
And we have many other. Thank you. We have many other dignitaries with us too. Dr. Yvonne from the USA just told me that she'll be joining. I don't know if she's in the house. We welcome her. And welcome very special people who have always been by our side since we started this program. I'm sorry, my voice is cracking. Please just, I hope you can hear me. So,
yes.
Okay, thank you so much. This is a platform where we are of encouragement. We also need to support and rally around ourselves and put in whatever it is it takes for us to be noticed, for us to be seen, for us to be heard, and for us to make impacts. And we have very wonderful women who are actually breaking the glass ceiling, the glass ceiling to make impact in the progress of the world at large. Because like it is said, if you train a woman, you train the nation. So when women are empowered, it affects and rubs on every other person, every other member of the family and the society at large. So we keep doing this At first, like it was said earlier on, it was weekly, but now we do it fortnightly so that people will be able to have enough time to prepare themselves. So today we are going to be talking about leadership because that's the time that we have right now because of the political situation in Nigeria. We need women to stand up and be able to support as necessary because we have the capacity to do this. We've handled so many topics in past, talking about the mental situation of women. We talked about, we've handled programs like domestic violence, we've handled programs like drug abuse and addiction, we've handled programs, so many of them in the past. So today, so that we'll manage our time properly, I'm sure that the professors in the house will be ready to do a lot of justice to this topic that we're discussing this evening. So thank you so much, welcome you. We also pray that we continue to support this program so that we can also touch more lives that we're doing right now. Thank you, you're welcoming. May God bless us all. Thank you, you're welcome. Good evening. So Joy, over to you.
All right, thank you all so much. Thank you so much, dear President. It's always good to have you welcome us to the webinar. Please be reminded that the webinar holds twice every month. It was holding weekly, but because of a lot of feedback we were getting, it was great. We decided to hold it twice every month. So after this one, in the next 2 weeks, we'll have another one hold. So I would like to bring to your attention the person of Professor Joy Ngozi Ezeilo to start today's discussion, because this is something very close to the heart of Prime Unique Women Initiative, and I feel that she should open the floor. This meeting is recording, and I hope all of us are agreed to that. Please also note that if you want to give a contribution or say something, you can raise your hands and we'll acknowledge it, or you can write your comments in the chat. Okay, so wow, nice to see you, ma'am. Professor Joy Ezeilo is a Nigerian legal scholar. She is also a traditional chief. So it is important that we address her with her full titles. She's the founder for Women Aid Collective. She's also the founder of Tama Sexual Assault Referral Center and the West African Women's Rights Coalition. Professor Joy Ezeilo is an activist and a scholar. She is the 2019 winner of the National Human Rights Award in Nigeria, and she's a recipient of the National Honor of the Officer of the Order of Niger for activism and contribution to human development. She's currently the Deputy Chairperson of the African Women Leadership Network, Nigerian chapter, and also a member of the Enugu State Judicial of Inquiry on Police Brutality and Extrajudicial Killings. So please welcome with me Professor Joy.
Thank you.
Over to you, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Joy, my namesake. Thank you, Dr. Folake Yobah, the Executive Director of Prime Unique Initiative, fellow discussants, and then guests who have come in to share in this conversation. I guess it's just an evening conversation, and you can imagine the village square and people coming to talk about a very important issue around women's leadership. And I want to say that women's leadership transcends political leadership. But of course, the political leadership aspect of it is very important, as is also determines so many things. So whereas we need women's leadership in every sector, in every facet of life, be it political, economic, social, private, state action, and then also in private sector. We want women to be closer to power, so that if women have access to power and in the public sector, then they can raise the quality of leadership. Then they can bring about good governance. It has been shown globally that women's leadership is still in the 20s and all of that. Some regions are definitely doing better than others, and some countries are doing better than others. If you look at World Economic Forum Gender Gap Index, you will see that countries not doing well. For example, Nigeria, out of 153 countries assessed, I think we came 146th, for example. And you will see also in terms of women in parliament that Rwanda is leading. And like Dr. Yobah said, we were in Rwanda and witnessed firsthand the women's leadership and how they are using that to fast track development. We can ask, why women's leadership? Why is it important? Of course, men have long occupied power and then and undermine women's agency and women's leadership. And women's leadership, you can see even at community level, at the level of even religious organization in some part of the country, you can see how that have brought about development. And the fact is that no development, there won't be any sustainable development without full participation of women and without women's leadership. Conversely, when you're talking of, because you can't actually stand on one foot and expect to run and succeed, it is not possible. So in Africa, you find that in the world, actually, Rwanda is leading, and they are above 60%. And if you look at other countries like have 40% political leadership here, then you are looking at, you think of Gabon, Gambia, in terms of Africa, for example, you will find South Africa, Senegal, Mozambique, Namibia, with those that are above 30%, Tanzania, Uganda, Cameroon, Angola, Zimbabwe. Nigeria, of course, is not it. If you look at the statistics, specifically on Nigeria, you find that women in parliament at the upper house, only 8 out of 109 seats. You can work it out, it's about 7.3%. If you look at the lower house, the House of Representatives, we have only 12 women out of 366 seats. If you look at it also, it's a paltry 4-point-something%. If you look at the entire state houses of assembly, the statistics is also appalling. It's about 4.47 or something like that, but it's under 5%. And there are about 12 states without even any female representation. And if you look at what is already happening from aspirant women who were aspirants, many women, and many of them didn't make it to become candidates. So again, we have seen a decline, steady decline since 2007. And then if that continues, you know that Nigeria still, where power is, women are far from it. But beyond the political leadership, are women in control of economy in Africa, in Nigeria? Are women in control of economy? Because we talk of Nepal, that was a roadmap on issue of, you find that it mentioned just women 3 times, not much is going on, and women's leadership have not been brought to use in terms of implementation of that plan. No wonder most of the plans in Africa are failing, because if you talk about poverty alleviation and have all these plans that women did not participate, because women's leadership also means participation, and with active participation, with inclusion of women, leaving no one behind, then you will see that immediate gain and value of how they raise quality of leadership. Think of those sets of states. Unfortunately, in Africa, I think we just have Ethiopia, where we have the president, a head of state. So if you look at during the COVID, at the peak of COVID time, all the leadership women who were heads of state from Germany to Croatia, they brought so much, they had the least infection and they dealt decisively with the issue. That will just show us or demonstrate the value added women can bring on board. Like I said, it's beyond political leadership, but it matters that women are close to power. If you look at speakers in African states, many countries now have speakers in the parliament that are women. Unfortunately, Nigeria don't have both a speaker, a woman, or a deputy. We have in Gabon, for example, Gambia, Equatorial Guinea, South Africa, Togo, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Zimbabwe, Uganda, Democratic Republic of Congo, They all have speakers as women. And hello, yeah, I think there are some that you can just ask them to mute the mic. Is distraction a bit. Anyway, so the point I'll make, because I think it's important that we just have a conversation.
Okay,
what is the problem? Why are women not on the table? And women's leadership, women need to be on the table, whether just beyond election, beyond running and winning election, on issues of appointed position in terms of decision making as a key word. Whether it's peace that is being negotiated, women need to be on the table. Whether it's national planning or nationhood building or whatever community development plans or policies or programs or in the making of laws, they just have to be on the table. And that's part of the decision making we're talking about. That's part of the participation. That's kind of leadership that we want, whether informal sector, whether formal sector, that women take active role and participation in that. So it is really, I don't think I can overemphasize the importance of women's leadership, and transformational female leadership is what will bring about the change we want, about the human development we want, about poverty eradication, the migration that will be saved, that will make sense to women, remittances and everything, So it is that leadership, we just need it, and we are lacking it because women have been marginalized in governance. No wonder that we're having bad governance, because if women are not involved, then we can't enjoy the full dividends of good governance. And women have, by the way, right to participate in the government of their country, and also right to participate in decision making. There are a lot of action being taken around the world, and it's important to allude quickly to that before I close up. In the UN, for example, the current SG, Secretary General, just is very, very determined to ensure that women occupy leadership positions, and have infused, they are getting up to 50-50 now. That is unprecedented. If you look at certain government action in different parts of the world, they are making sure, even corporate organizations are putting women, are ensuring that women are on the leadership table, because the private sector, the corporate sector is very important, because that's where money is. And maybe why women fail in election is because they don't have the money. Again, so the failure of women's political and entrepreneurship also is due to the fact that they don't have the money. But those who control the economy and who control the money, and issue of land and access to capital as a means of production, also make it impossible for women to fare well in those sectors. So, but we agreed on one thing. This is very vital. How we go about it could be by laws, law reform, and making sure that those laws are implemented, of course, and again by proactive measures, even in the private sector. So these days, of course, there is a little bit of competition. Many companies want to be gender sensitive, or want to be seen to be gender sensitive, and are adopting right policies. And we know we can't dwell so much on the constraint, because there's a lot of challenges, but the issue is that women need to shatter the glass ceiling. And women in leadership have shown great example. At least today in Nigeria, even at the world global stage, we have our best. We have Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala leading World Trade Organization. We have people like Amina Mohammed being the Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations. We have so many other women in the past, like Obi Ezekwesili, who have been the MD of World Bank, Aruma Ete, and so many. And Alakija Majid, who is also a formidable, powerful woman when you talk about who made the first, I think, 500 list, and then the richest woman in Africa, and who has shown that women can also dominate in the economic sector. Those are the businesses. There are businesses that really are so gender, not gendered. Construction, but women are also entering some of those businesses. And I think I always say, when I see, because of the nature of my work, I spend large part of my time in hotels. And once you see a hotel that a woman doesn't have input, you will know. You will say that these hotels, I wish that we have more female and those in construction, then the difference will be clear. So let us all continue to work lobby for this change that we want and demand it as of right. And I think we have the world support. The way the world is going, Sustainable Development Goal 5 is very clear on promotion, advancing gender equality. And of leaving no one behind means also everyone has to be on the table. And that table for decision making is important. And the time is now. And for us in Nigeria, it is all very important. And that's why organizations like African Women Auli came on board, right from African Union, to ensure that African women's leadership are galvanized towards development of Africa. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much, Professor Joy Ugozie Ezeilo. In fact, I am just so amazed. You know, I expected this, and it's just, I'm getting a lot. Thank you so much. We can just remember that women in governance means women's participation. It's one key word. Women must be able to participate in governance in the country if we want to change things in the country, because women account for over 50% of the population of Nigeria. And how come that women with such number, they are not being well represented in the houses of assembly and other positions of authority and policy making? So it is high time those changes are looked into, and this recording will be going on, you know, on all our social media platforms. We're putting it on air because we need to effect the change that we've been looking for or that we want in our country. So let's also remember that this is a mental health program. This is a women and mental health program. So we'll be looking at the challenges women face, you know, that restricts them from that position of leadership or going into such position of leadership. Yes, money is involved. There are also some other parts of it that could be, you know, demeaning to the woman, you know, could be, you know, to restrict her, to press her down, to subdue her. So we'll be looking at that today. If you want to speak, please raise your hand so that I can make notice of you and then call you up to speak. So right now, do we have Dr. Tariq in the house?
Yes.
Yes. Wow. Okay. Please, if you want to speak, you just raise your hand, then I would call up your name once the time is set. So hello, Dr. Tariq. It's always great to have you all the way from Turkey. You are a he for she. You are a life coach. You are a psychologist. You are a teacher. You know, you are an encourager. You are somebody who knows how to put people in the right frame of mind at every moment. And from your country, we know that you are doing a lot, even for the women in your country. So I'd like you to, you know, add to this discussion. What do you have for us today? Let's hear from you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Yobah. Thank you everybody for coming to this evening. I would like to talk about, you know, I always whenever I meet with you, I always like to jot some ideas to think about, and a chance or an opportunity for you to start developing new concepts and to change some assumptions. Today, I will talk about assumptions, wrong assumptions about leadership. Why many people don't develop as leaders, you know? So many people recognize the value of good leadership, yet not many work to become better leaders. Why is that? Despite all the books, the classes, the seminars, you know, the interviews, many people think leadership is not for them. Maybe it's because they make one of these assumptions. I will talk about this assumption. Now, let us talk for number one, for example. I am not a born leader, so I can't lead. You know, people think that to be a leader, you have to be born as a leader. Of course, you know, some people are born with certain talents and gifts. Of course, you shouldn't ignore that. But there is always a chance for development. You know, what I really mean is that your ability to lead is not set at birth. when it's true that some people are born with some natural gifts that will help them lead at a high level, everyone has the potential to become a leader. And leadership can be developed and improved by anyone willing to put in the effort. If you are willing to put in some effort, then you can be a leader. Now, some people say, title, I'm waiting for a title, seniority, and then automatically will make me a leader. You know, people think that. People think that they need to be appointed to a position of leadership, when the ability is that becoming a good leader requires desire and some basic tools. You can have a title, seniority, and be true seniority in the leadership. So, in spite of title, in spite of seniority, so many people are incapable of leading. And you can have no title, no seniority, and be a good leader. So, this is also one of the assumptions. Another assumption is work experience will automatically make me a leader. So leadership is like maturity. It doesn't automatically come with age. Sometimes age comes alone. Tenure does not create leadership ability. In fact, it's more likely to engender entitlement than leadership ability. Another assumption is I am waiting until I get a position to start development as a leader. You know, people think that I'm waiting, and they don't work for it. They don't prepare for it. So people would say, if I ever become a leader, all right, meaning if they were ever appointed to a leadership position, then maybe I'll come to one of your seminars. And what a problem, you know? Some people think like that. And, you know, I remember here a famous coach in UCLA, John Wooden, once said, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. Just think about that, guys. Think about that. When opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. You know, opportunities sometimes surprises you. So if you are not ready, if you are not prepared, you will miss the chance. So you have to prepare yourself. You have to prepare yourself. You have to be always ready. You know. So remember that when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. If you start learning about leadership now, not only will you increase your opportunities, but you'll also make the most of them when they arrive. So that's why I should thank Yobah, Dr. Yobah so much, and PUWI for you know, arranging such seminars and raising the awareness of getting ready for the chance, getting ready for the opportunity. Because remember, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. So you have to prepare now. You have to get ready now. All right. So this is a very important point. You can have a title, seniority, and but in capable of leading, as I said, all right. And you can have no title, but you can be a good a leader. One more thing is some people think that also we talked about work experience. It's not a big deal here. All right. Now, how will you develop the leader within you? Now, the bottom line is that if you've never done anything to develop yourself as a leader, you can start today. So there's always a chance. It's never too late. You can start today. And you know, I am a very, you know, big fan of the philosophy of the power of now. I really love this concept, the power of now. You know, because now the present moment is the real moment. And you know that you know, I can work, I can do wonders now, not yesterday, not tomorrow, because yesterday is gone. And if you start thinking about the past, then you might be depressed. Okay. And if you start thinking too much about future, you'll be anxious. So that the present moment is the real moment. So try to be present in the present. Okay. So now is your chance to start working on your leadership. what is missing, the tools, getting prepared. And also later on, down the lecture, I will talk about one concept, which is very, really, very important. We can work on it now. So what is this concept I'm talking about is influence. Just think about this, the word influence. I believe leadership is influence. You know, a leader without followers is no leader. So there should be some followers, and followers, it means you have the ability to influence others, to leave an impact on others. So take some time to think about the word influence. You know, now if you think I really think that leadership is influence, as I said, nothing more, nothing less. That's why my favorite leadership proverb is, listen to this also carefully, guys. He who thinks the leads and has no one following him is only taking a walk. For you to be a leader, someone has to be following you. So now you please take some time and think and look around and think about the people around you, your work environment, your friends, family. Do you have some influence on others? Do you leave some impact on others? All right. Some people surprise you with texts or with telephone calls thanking you for what you did for them, blah, 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 blah. I just give you an example. I don't like, of course, talk about what I'm doing in particular, but it's an example. A week ago, one of my students in the translation department sent me a text. Actually, she was in the second year, and she left the university, or she take a pause, and she started working as a hostess in Turkish airline. Now you know what? She surprised me one morning. She sent me. She, of course, hostess. They always receive 45 days of training, so she's in the training now, and she sent me part of the training. Now I taught them two courses about linguistics, and in linguistics I taught them phonetics and IPA transcription, how to pronounce IPA, how to read IPA, and she actually photocopied, or she had a snapshot of the screen of the class where there are some IPA symbols, and she told me, Dr. Tariq, do you know that I am the best one to read the IPA in the class? Do you know why? Because of you. I said, oh my God, you made my day. Thank you so much. Now think about this example as influence. As a leader, you have to influence others. People think that you lead, you leave an impact on them. So this is a very important part, influence. All right. And everyone influence someone. I'm sure if you look around, if you think about the work environment, your friends, school, your friends, your neighbors, blah blah blah, you'll see that you have influenced others, and you have been influenced by others. Now, we don't always know who or how much we influence. We are influenced every day by so many people. Sometimes small things make big impressions. We have been modeled into the people we are by those influences, and we mold others often when we least expect it. Now, here, before I go on, I would like to talk about belief. If you don't strongly believe in yourself, in your strong points, in what you have, in what you can do to the environment, to the people around you won't be able to help. So you have to strongly believe in yourself, because when you convey a message, you are not strongly believing in it, it won't be that effective. So you have to believe in what you have. You have to believe in yourself, and you have to work on your self-esteem. Self-esteem, guys, is so important. It's a very important quality of leaders. Now, what else I would like to talk before I leave? The best investment in tomorrow is to develop your influence today, and also this is related to the power of now, guys. It's never too late. It's you can work on developing yourself, developing your leadership tools, all right? And you have to also work to see that you can leave impact on others, you can influence others. So what is your greatest investment possibility for the future? Maybe some people will say the stock market, real estate holdings, more education, all of these things have value, but I would argue that one of the best investments you can make in yourself is develop your influence. Why? Because if you have the desire to accomplish something, you will be in a better place to do it if others are willing to help. Thank you, guys, and that's what I have to say for today. And I hope you think about what I said. Okay, so when opportunity comes, you have to be prepared. Remember this very much. All right. If you have a chance to be a leader, nobody is gonna wait until I work on myself or work on my development. No, you have to work now, develop now, and when chance comes, you are ready. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tariq. We know that we can't expect less from you. I hope you all are writing down. We've had two amazing people give their 2 cents on this matter. First of all, you'll notice you have to be a solution to the problem. You find the problem and you work towards a solution for it. Secondly, you have to be prepared. You have to be prepared for leadership. You have to participate in things that would, improve yourself as a leader. Thirdly, you have to build capacity. I'm just saying the things that I've caught on from this discussion. You have to build capacity. All of these and more are things that we should take our time to look at. So I would like to invite Dr. Yvonne. Dr. Yvonne Mitchell is a psychotherapist, and I would like her to look into women and leadership. What are those things that could affect a woman mentally in a leadership position? What are those things that can bring her down? How can she overcome such challenges, such psycho trauma? What can she do? So Dr. Yvonne, please take the microphone and just speak to us. Thank you.
God bless you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so sorry we had a hard time connecting. You put out there a couple things to me. So give me the first question again.
Okay, the question is, what are those things? How can women deal with the challenges of leadership, the mental challenges? I know leadership takes a lot, intellectually and mentally. How does one deal with them? What are those things that can stand as challenges for women in leadership, and how do they deal with them?
A lot of times we have to think deep about what we're doing first and our purpose for doing it. When you have purpose and you understand that your purpose is going to motivate or initiate others to come through or pass through or overcome, it takes a lot of encouragement within yourself. So one, women leaders have to be courageous. Women leaders have to be very innovative, creative about the things that they're doing. If one option fails, can they think of another option? When you have courage, innovation, and when you have determination. And when you look at your purpose of why you're doing this, it will help you to overcome that mental point in your life that you feel like you're breaking down. Because I want to say, this is what a lot of people don't want to face, is that we all face mental challenges. We all face mental breakdowns. We all come to a point that we want to quit. But at that breaking point, we also have to, as leaders, surround ourselves with people that are just as motivated as we are as women. When you put yourself around women that are very motivated, if you find yourself breaking down to an extent or to a point, you should be able to reach out. I think we as women also have an issue where I've seen a lot of women not trusting. They trust a person long enough to be around them, to learn from them, to maybe get what they need out of a person, but yet instead they don't trust them. So I feel that we as women, we must find ourselves loyal. We need to be more loyal, because loyalty helps people to not just believe that you got the best interest at heart, but also if they're at a breaking point in their life, they can have someone of their same caliber that they can come and communicate with, that would not judge them or belittle them because they're saying, hey, I want to quit. You know, as a woman and facing challenges, and in this world, we look at, can a woman lead? Can a woman have the capacity to manage what she's taking on, or what she's addressing? So we have to also find ourselves not to be negligent, be very bold, and be honest. So being honest with ourselves, being loyal, putting yourself around a group of women that are just as loyal. But let's say, for example, what if you don't know a group of women and you're coming into this place of knowing yourself, and you don't know who to trust? From personal experience, I took one thing, and this is what I said. I said, if I can't find no one that I can trust, I want to be the one somebody can trust. So it's about having a strength within yourself deep down inside to fight against all odds. So if you're not surrounded, or you're not amongst a bunch of unique, wonderful women of God, or women of great excellence, or women of great faith in what they do and what they believe, take the time to understand yourself. When you take the time to understand yourself, then you can be able to manage what's going on in your mind. I just lost my mom in January. Mentally, I would lie and tell you, hey, even though I am a therapist, even though I encourage people, even though I listen to people's problems, I also have problems. So I was talking to a doctor, which is a psychiatrist, and he said the very same thing, and it was a gentleman. He says, we have to watch who we put our trust in and watch who we put in our circle. Because even doctors, physicians, outside of that, you may go see a physician for any part of your body. They also have issues. They have to be careful not to talk about their issues around the wrong person, because they could be misinterpreted as weak. And then when one see you as weak, it knocks the motivation you once walked in, or the power of motivation you once walked in. It causes people to not look up to you or trust the experience that you may have or the knowledge that you may have to help them in an area that they need. So I feel that we as women and mentally, we have to find a balance. Find a balance. It's okay to want to help others, but at the end of the day, we also have to help ourselves. We got to know when enough is enough. Out of all the people in the world, I had to learn I can't change the whole world, but I can change somebody or be a help to initiate a change for somebody. So when we look at it like this, let's do one thing at a time. When we're dealing with people, a task on a job, let's handle one matter at a time. And that can really help us to be more balanced, because taking on so many activities at one time can really bring on an imbalance. And before you know it, you can have a breakdown. What is that breakdown? Want to give up. Your full attention is not there. You're trying to work, but you're snappy. You ever work with somebody and they snap on you? Because they're agitated, they're frustrated. I pray that that part of what I said has kind of helped us to understand that being a leader and then mentally, how do we deal with certain things? I hope this has helped a little bit.
Oh, yes, Doctor. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, Dr. Yvonne, because this is just great. So many things that just if you look at it at the charts, you could find a lot of agreement with everything that you have said, you know. Thinking too much about this is from Egodi Blessings, that I agree 100%. Thinking too much about the future, you know, makes you anxious, you know. And then somebody just said, okay, this is Ogechi Ike. Very correct. It's important to surround yourself with people who would motivate you and add value to yourself. Loyalty is critical in building good relationship, in leadership. I don't know, do we still have Professor Joy in the house? Professor Joy Ezeilo, are you still in the house? Do we still have your attention?
Yes.
Okay. So you have built a very strong career. You have built a very, very formidable personality. At any point, have you had that point where you were at your lowest? You know, have you come to a point where you felt like you should give up? How did you bounce back? What did you do? We would like to hear from you.
I think the ups and downs of life can take its toll, but you know, of course, as women who have developed resilience for multitasking, resilience for societal kind of not just suppression of women, because it's relative, because at certain level you don't expect that outright. But again, still the whole notion or non-acceptance of women's leadership, or of really a woman as a person with full legal capacity and recognition of our dignity. Yes, but then what very well with me was that in 2021 was kind of horrifying for me, because within that 2021, I lost my husband, I lost my mother, then I lost a staff of over 15 years. So as you were dealing with one, you know, just like giving credits to that when it rains, it pours. So I recall particularly the staff I lost saying to me, and she sent a text, and she didn't know she would die, you know, finally, and said, "Oh, I haven't seen you. I haven't seen you, you know, appear vulnerable. This is my first time working with you for over 15 years, you know, seeing you appear vulnerable." And then she was like, "I thank God that you're coming around, that you're getting yourself back." Because after I lost my husband and within 10 months, my mom died. And, I just told people, I put it out clearly, I don't want anybody to visit me. I don't want anybody to, I don't want to see anybody. I just wanted to, to just, for 2 weeks, I couldn't go out. I couldn't do anything. I just was on my own. And I thought I needed that space to heal. And it helped, because, I just didn't want all the emotions and roller coaster with everybody coming in. I know in our culture, people, that's really the culture. So it was like abnormal to say you don't want to see people. But then, people have different ways of dealing with things. But I think it's also important what she mentioned about having a community. That solidarity is important, but also having people you trust, you can say, this is it, and who can hear you out. And then also you also being also a shoulder for others to lean on at the moment of weakness, especially for also women in leadership. And that solidarity is important. It's not easy out there, for women, but for some of us, maybe some have stronger constitution than others, and then emotionally some are stronger than others, but there are ones that get derailed completely, within, some emotional challenges, and one have to navigate that. But I think we don't affirm ourselves enough, even as women leaders, women who do so much and who do too much. And we need to also unpack and have enough time for ourselves, for realization, for self reflection, and then again, having also some, not just we know already our passion we are pursuing, but again, having also something out of that, passion, that we can call beyond hobby, that takes out the pressure of one. So I think all of that together works. And for the, so it's a continued mentorship for the younger ones, because some will say, how did you do it? How did you do it? How come that you were able to achieve so much within so much? It's a lot of determination. And as a woman, managing your time very well, time management is very, very crucial, because we multitask, and society in terms of division of sex, division of labor, have given us a lot of burden, both in the domestic sphere and then also in the public sector, where we have to earn a living. So we have to manage all of that in order to become. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Professor Ezeilo. Thank you so much for that. I hope we are all getting all those things. I hope we are getting these things. You cannot undermine the efficacy and then the importance of support groups, of a strong community, of a shoulder to cry on. You cannot undermine that. You cannot undermine the importance of your mental health and how you are supposed to take a break and refresh yourself to bounce back. Thank you so much, Dr. Joy. This has been so insightful. So now we are looking at, well, okay, I don't know. I'm looking at the time and I'm seeing that we might not have a lot of time to cover everything, but on the 26th of June, we would have to continue this topic, because right now we have to also look inward at the current situation of women participation in governance and leadership in Nigeria. At that point, I would have called on Professor Adeogun to tell us why, but I'm seeing a lot of hands up. So I think we would have to push some discussions down to the next 2 weeks. When the next
Joy,
okay?
Let's just listen to some people.
What?
Let us take some questions. Let us listen to some people.
Yes. I'm going to do
5 minutes, yes.
All right. Okay, so I can see Lois, your hand was up first, followed by Dr. Mitchell.
I'm here.
And then,
yeah.
Mr. Clement. So go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It's very insightful and very convincing to be here. It's educative, it's interactive, and I'm learning a lot. But I want to ask a question. Naturally, as a woman, or traditionally, it looks like the woman is behind the man. And most times when things are done naturally as a woman, the woman will put behind the man, even when the woman has more credibility, stands a better chance. And when you are soliciting support from fellow women, it looks like it's difficult, especially those in the lower cadre or who are less enlightened than you. They will feel, why do you want to go for this leadership position? Why don't you leave it for men? In the popular Nigerian saying, the woman's position should be in the kitchen. Why are you coming out in the limelight? A lady should be seen and not heard. A lady should be seen and not heard. And all of that are being thrown at you by even fellow women. How do you deal with such as an adult? How do you begin to impact it on younger ones? Because if we're talking about changing narratives, we should be able to teach our younger ones, our daughters, the right thing, so that they are able to come up. If we have made mistakes in our generation, we haven't been able to measure up. In our own country, we're even less than 20%, then we should be able to take it back to the younger ones and bring them up to as the boy child is growing, so that they are able to stand, at par. And how do we deal with such? How do we convince, those other people, the fellow women, that we have the credibility and the capability to handle the leadership position? Thank you.
All right, Dr. Ezeilo, you are a
Joy,
chief. Okay, you want to answer that, Dr. Yobah?
No.
I think you better take all the questions, all the comments and questions.
Great.
Okay. Let's take all the questions. Yes.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Who wants to speak next? Mr. Clements, do you want to go?
Yes. Good evening, everybody. It's been a very wonderful night. It's been very amazing. Professor Joy, you've been very, very impactful. I remember when you are a professor of law, and by the special grace of God, you've been a former United Nations rapporteur. I want you, when we were in Kigali, I remember precisely when we visited the parliament of Kigali, you told us that you were part of the committee that drafted the constitution of the Republic of Rwanda. I know it was a very big feat for you. It was very inspirational for all of us. I felt so proud of you. I want you to tell us, as a woman, how it has been. How did you feel serving as a motivation to all of us? How did you feel being part of that committee?
Okay.
All right.
Thank you. I think when we get all the questions, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Any more questions? Okay, Dr. Yvonne, I can see your hand up as well. Hello, Dr. Yvonne.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead. I can hear you.
Okay, before they had presented the questions, I think I have one of the answers about one of the statements that was made, because I wanted to
Dr. Yvonne, we are losing you here. Hello?
Okay, go to the next person.
All right. Amuche Gifts, can you go ahead and ask your question?
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Yes, good evening.
Thank you so much. Tonight has been amazing. Thank you, Mrs. Lois, for encouraging me to be here. Okay, I don't even know the point I joined, but I'm so grateful. My question is this, almost in line with Mrs. Lois's own. What happens to, I am still a very expressive young lady, yeah? And then before I got married, I was into a lot of leadership programs. I was a seminar speaker. I do, people can employ me part-time to run presentations on their behalf and all that. But 3 years into marriage, I'm realizing that the person I am sort of married to isn't having the fact that I am out there in the limelight while he's who he is. He's not someone who is so outspoken and all that. But there's a part of me that feels he sort of feels intimidated when he sees me doing so much. Though there's a part of him that feels very proud of me as well. So that is sort of curbing my wings right now, because I'm no longer expressive. I'm no longer out there as much as I would love to, because I know my niche and I'm trying to fan it aflame. Yeah, but then 3 years into marriage, Igbos, most of the things I'll be hearing is like the Igbo adage or whatever they will say to me is, "Amuche make a like you don't behave like a woman that someone that is married, you know." So I need to just get into the kitchen, just like Mrs. Lloyd says. So how do I balance this? Because I am not about to lose myself for marriage. I am not about to do that. I also do not want to lose myself, lose my marriage as well. So I want to know, how do I do this? How do I, because it's affecting me so much. And I'm just glad that I joined tonight, and I really need help. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your concerns with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you. It took a lot of courage to do that. Professor Joy, I'll still come back to you because you are a traditional chief. So you know these things. And yet you are, yes, and you are who you are today. So we'd like to hear from you, as well as the advanced and accomplished women in the house here. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Quickly, because time is ticking, and yes, it's Sunday evening and people would like to just call it a night. Yes, Mr. Clement, you asked a question with regard to Rwanda. Yes, I am indeed honored. I'm sure that many people, except those who were involved there in the Constitutional Review Committee of Rwanda, may not know the role I played. But again, I thank God that God used me to put, and I would say that without equivocation, the affirmative action clause in that constitution. Because for 2 weeks, I was invited as an expert and a consultant by then USAID and US Embassy in Rwanda to come and help them out. And we traveled to Kigali. From Kigali, we went to Kibuye on a retreat with the Constitutional Review Committee. And for 2 weeks I spent there, we were ironing out and then doing the details of actual drafting and negotiating that, coming after the genocide. And it was a real experience. And I recall myself and one other American lady, African American, who traveled also from US. We are in the drafting committee to take also care of issues around women, and then other women and children and other minorities. And that was when I submitted this affirmative action. And then we put it there. And today, you know what it has resulted in. And I'm proud that, and that really convinces me as a lawyer, as a law professor, and as a public law professor, the power of law. Law is not a panacea, but it can be a useful beginning and a springboard for so many things to happen. So that's why when we are talking about Nigeria, women's underrepresentation, we push for law 111, the bill, the bill that we have put about 111 additional seats, but it failed. And in Nigeria, it's not that I'm not doing this type of work that I've done elsewhere in the world. Actually, for more than 12 years, I've also been involved with National Assembly Constitution Review Committee. I was also there, I've been their consultant for many years. Even this last review, we managed to, and because I was involved, I got all the 5 provisions that women, that were rejected, that women, but in-house, because I was in-house as a consultant, then we were able to get those provisions on the additional seat, on indigeneity, with, of course, the support of women parliamentarian, Honorable Kiru Kanyagocha was very, very particular on the additional seat, and she worked so hard to get some of their colleagues to accept that. But unfortunately, some just turned almost 360 degrees and rejected it. So we have the indigeneity, we have the affirmative action one, we have the issue of appointed position and having women, and then citizenship, and unfortunately, some survived the House, some didn't survive, some survived at the Senate, but because of the way the constitutional process is, if it fails in either of the houses, then it's considered, is deemed to have failed. And of course, today, nothing has been achieved. And we've been in this advocacy since inception. And I tell you, since before even our democracy, I was of course part of Women in Nigeria. I was in the national leadership of Women in Nigeria. And we know what we did, in the military time, fighting for all of this cause. And then at the inception of this, the democracy we have, and 23 years of unbroken democracy, we haven't really, I know we've progressed, but it's been like one step forward, 10 steps backward in terms of gender equality. And in terms of representation, it's nothing to write home about. But I hope we can, because now Nigeria is a laggard in the Committee of Nations within Africa, within West Africa. There are many countries way ahead of us that have also even affirmative action, legislative quotas, party quotas, and women are going up there in Gambia, in Senegal, in Gabon, name it, in Cameroon, and all of this country, Equatorial Guinea, they've all surpassed Nigeria. In fact, in the World Economic Forum statistic, Nigeria came last in Africa, and in the world surpassed only 7 or 8 countries. And I named those countries. I don't think it's countries that we should be in the league with. Afghanistan, Pakistan, all those, they're not Yemen, they're not countries that we're in the same league with. And then we are a powerhouse in Africa and in African Union. So we should be showing better examples. So again, on the issue Louis raised that I had also, the last speaker spoke about, the culture of patriarchy, social patriarchy, and dichotomy between a private space, dichotomy of the public and private space, and how that affects women's productive and reproductive role, and how all of that affects a woman, her self-esteem, her issue of even professional career and advancement, personal development. It's something that many women have to grapple up. Becoming as for some, even for some women, they were just, I've had a lot of people, oh, my husband cannot even allow me to attend a seminar or attend a conference. And if you are in the university system, for example, I'm a professor of law. In the university, I've also been a dean at the University of Nigeria. There is no way you can even get a professorship or even advance without even conferences, apart from written papers that you ought to have. So if you're one whose husband wouldn't, it then means you can never advance in your career. So, but I think all of these are matter of discussion, because I know once I told my colleagues, and that's that kind of is a favorite line of Her Excellency. I told that this story many years ago, over 15 years, BC Fayemi. And I said, look, I was talking with the women, some of my colleagues, and the others in the law teachers conference that we are complaining about. I said, how do you start this discussion? How do you start this discussion? Is it that, darling, my husband, I want to take permission. Please, can you permit me to attend a conference on so and so? Or is it a matter of information? Because I think it's the latter. We are not stupid as women. If there is anything that will stop you from attending that conference, for example, if your child is sick or your husband is, nobody will tell you. You will make a better judgment and say, oh, my family is not okay at this point, I can't travel. But it's not like you're having to depend on someone to give you permission. So at times, the way we approach some of these issues and what we discuss and our openness, and these days the world has moved, all of this should come into play by the time you're negotiating your marriage. But sometimes because of pressure on motherhood, childhood, getting marriage, people don't know what people want. What do you want? I'm a professional person. I would like to advance my career. I would love my family. I want to have children. But this is this. So you agree on all of this. And if there is an understanding, then you pursue that understanding. But the issue is that once you yield 1 inch, it takes 2 inches, and then so on and so forth, then you get entrapped. And then, of course, mothers and family will come and tell you, they will quote the Bible or the Quran to support the fact that you have to be submissive. And then that way, or your pastor, they will tell you that. And then the woman is caged, and then you become very unhappy and you're not able to. I always say that most productive women are the ones that are working. They navigate, they're able to balance. Yes, we all need that balance in our life. And, as women, we have learned to do too much. And we're able to navigate and do that multitasking. Sometimes it's also a gift from God. And that gift, men can cannot even multitask the way women does and do it and handle it with care. And I can give an example. Even I got married in university. I had all my children in university. I never missed a class for one day. I came top of my class, and, with pregnancy, with marriage, with everything that you have to do. Today I'm a grandmother, but I started out early. At age 20, I had my first child. I was in the university as well. I was reading law. So you see that, it takes, and it didn't affect my professional advancement because it was very clear, and, I wanted my career. So there wasn't even any issue on that because that could not have been negotiated at all, to the contrary. But then, of course, I always tell women, because I work with women also, you think of the larger interest of the family, the relationship in the family. Of course, you don't want any marriage to break. So you people should talk about that and agree on something. I've had women who work with me come and say, my husband say, I want you to stop this work. I want you to quit working with Wakol or with this, because they talk about women's rights or what, or the work takes you out, you travel a lot, you stay in hotels, I don't trust, so the issue of trust and everything, But then these days, you can see a bit of shift. The fact that women are also bringing in money is also shifting that no man wants to go it alone. I've also seen men who came to me and say, I'm worried my wife doesn't have a job, and they doesn't have a job. I really need her to help me out. I can't bear the burden of this family alone. So men are also shying away from the economic realities and forcing them to accept also working women. But also some women really have real hard time dealing with men because they are working. I remember one case I had to mediate. She works in a bank, and the husband, even though she is the breadwinner, command the bank water, and she's the one who foot the bill, and then she cannot allow her even a peace of mind. You know when something becomes toxic. It's not a do or die affair, and then you don't have to, die in silence, because we've seen what happened Osinachi and so many women who's, the red line or the where they can't cross is even issue of violence. So if the person comes with violence, then that's the red line, of course. But some women come out and say a lot of emotional violence. Also men, I know, complain of emotional violence, also verbal abuse by women. So all of that we need to look into, but it should be negotiated, and there should be openness and frankness in marriage, and there should be in relationship building. You need to really discuss with your partner, and we encourage that before the marriage, because for some people they give impression that they are the woman who will just be in the other room and nothing more before marriage. And then after marriage, you now try to turn around, then it's not part of the bargain, or you will have seen over-possessive man even before then. But please discuss your career. But what again, I know that the unfortunate thing in Africa and Nigeria mostly is that we lack the support system. Because we lack the support system, the social security system, women sometimes are not able, to balance those two very well. But you now see a lot of women carrying their babies at the back in the hot sun, selling food in the market every morning with 1 month old baby. Women are really suffering in this country, and then no system even to assist or support. So we hope that the privileged ones can be a voice. That's why we've gotten today paternity leave in some states, and we're happy about it. Let men participate in the upbringing of children. Actually, it takes two to tango. Men, you need, in order to, men should participate in upbringing of children as well, in taking care of family, because that's what happened also in other advanced society, where you see men doing everything. They have to share, actually. You cannot even expect the woman to be the one to bear the burden of that. So gender roles, and talking about gender roles, do change and do shift, over time, is something that we need to, as we bargain patriarchy, because it's continuing bargaining of patriarchy and social norms, societal ethos, what are the expectations of the society. But the people are understanding that it's shifting. Just think of the rural area. Think of those women who now have to do the farming. They are the food security of the family, the burden is on them. And some men in some circumstances are becoming even more irresponsible. They will marry many women, they will not even care for them, and the women are battling to provide for themselves and the children. But please, if you need further information, feel free. We can talk bilaterally. The last speaker, and we can discuss more on this. It's not something we can exhaust, but thank you so much for sharing your, really something intimate to you, and don't feel out of place for doing so. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you so much. That was so uplifting. That was so uplifting. I hope you got something, a mutual gift. I hope you are encouraged, because this platform is actually for you. Air your concerns. You would find help here on this platform, or when you contact us at Prime Unique Women Initiative. Yes, we have gone past our time. So I would like to call on the president of Prime Unique Women Initiative. Thank you so much. I'm seeing Ogechi Ike. Thank you so much for your contributions. They are just so good. Dear President, Dr. Folake Yobah, the president of Prime Unique Women Initiative, I just want you to give your 2 cents on this matter so that we can round up for this Sunday, because we'll be back. So, all right, ma.
Thank you so much. We are so grateful for all the participants today, particularly the speakers. I thank you so much, Professor Joy Ezeilo. May God continue to protect and bless you and give you more strength. I remember you told us in Kigali that it's a big problem when you ask a professor of law to chair a program. And you've actually showed us just a little part of the knowledge that you have acquired over the years. We can't have enough of you. Thank you so much. We are so grateful. She has said quite a lot, and I hope for those who are listening, in case you do not have the need for what she has said now, keep it in your archive, maybe to be useful to you sometime, or maybe useful to your generations or to your friends. So we keep learning here. We also thank Dr. Tariq. He taught us a lot this evening. He's just such an amazing person. He's a very wonderful instructor, and I learned a lot from him this evening particularly. I'm sure all of us did. Quite a lot we have learned. We don't want to waste time recapping on what we have learned from him and for Professor Ezeilo as well. And Dr. Yvonne, we lost her at some point. She also said a lot of beautiful things. All of us have learned a lot, and we have to keep learning, because like if we live 100 years, we still have a lot to learn. That's what I say every time. So you cannot have too much of knowledge. Please continue to join us fortnightly on this program, because we have so many topics. Like I mentioned, Professor Joy mentioned the violence. We handled violence, violence, so many weeks, a whole month. That was last month. And then we keep handling trending things that will be useful to women, things that will make women to be better than we are today, so that when we become better, we become more knowledgeable, we are more prepared for leadership. Once there's an opportunity, we can quickly grasp the opportunity. We don't have to say, oh, hold on, let me go and come back and upgrade myself. And even our men will see that we have the capacity and we are capable. And once they see it, they will know it will not be fair on their part to keep us under the carpet, because we'll be very useful to them as well, and the entire family and the society at large. Yes, we are going to be back in the next 2 weeks by the grace of the Almighty God. We thank all of you. Please join us and invite others to join us as well, because we can always get better at it for sure, by the grace of God. Thank you so much. We appreciate you all. We love you all and wish you all the best. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Good evening. Bye-bye. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
To get the recording of this webinar, please send an email to joy.ativie@gmail.com. I've put it there in the chat, so you can just copy it and keep, and then email me, and I will send you the recording and pictures of this webinar. All right. Thank you so much, dear President. You are a mother in Israel. Thank you so much, Dr. Joy Ezeilo. It was amazing. It's my big pleasure to meet you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much. I wish you all a great week ahead. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Good night.